Guys, welcome to this week's 10-Minute Tuesday. We have Gavin and Jake here, and two of us have done a lot of public hunting, and so we wanted to talk to you about public land etiquette and not like go too far off the deep end and say that we're more righteous than other people, but these are just some things that I feel like a lot of people, especially in Minnesota, do not adhere to. So I just kind of wanted to bop off of one another and be like, what are some things that you've noticed? What are some things that you've noticed? Blah, blah, blah. So when you think of public land hunting, what are like some of the most ridiculous things that you should not do that you've seen people do?
The guy who doesn't turn his headlamp on until you're 30 yards from him. You're like, I've been driving across this lake for 15 minutes and now you click your light on? Like, you could have let me know. I could have gone to the other side of the lake a while ago. And now I came to you thinking there was nobody here. The guy who launched 5 minutes after me is now at the spot I wanted to be at second. But now I'm not going to beat him to it because you didn't turn your headlamp on until I was 30 yards from you.
Right.
Like, that's simple. Just, why are you sitting out there in the dark anyways?
Right. And I forgot to preface this. I feel like a lot of people don't know, like, the unwritten rules of public land. And so when you have someone like us that have been doing it for over a decade and you get really pissed because we were taught by our elders, do not do this. Yeah. Do not do this. But a lot of people have not been taught that. And so it's like, especially when you and I ran into that situation, maybe those guys have never, they just don't know, you know?
Oh, dude, so many kids now don't have like someone to actually teach them. They've learned off YouTube or learned off of a podcast. Like, I hunted the lake probably halfway through the season, and a couple of kids were doing some rather high shooting.
Sky blasting?
Yeah, not quite. I wouldn't call it quite that, but like, birds cupped up, but at like 50, they're calling it. I'm like, dude, they're cupped up on you. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then we got to the landing, and I asked them, like, guys, like, why don't you let them come? They're like, well, we got nervous that they were going to bail. So we just like, I was like, dude, anything bowed up like that ain't bailing. Like, just don't move and sit still and you'll get them. And they're like, well, like, we got nervous and we're just shooting. I was like, you guys killed like 3 and you could have easily killed your 12 had you just sat and waited. And
if they do bail, just take it as a learning opportunity. Figure out what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, what did you do wrong? Did you move? Did you
if they're
look
holding
around?
Pumpkins like that, you're doing something wrong that stirred them off. So,
But I feel like the generation of people that had like a grandpa or an uncle that taught them that, I think has gone away to a degree.
So shoot him as close as you can.
Yeah, like actually let them work. Like, it's not all about the killing aspect. Like, I think that's the best thing public land teaches guys, is it's about the experience and the knowledge that you learn from it. And brown it's down, shoot what you can, but also you're not taking 50, 60-yard shots.
No.
So, like, you take what's actually yours to take.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not taking 50-yard shots until nothing's coming in and it's hour 2.5.
Right.
You know,
or the other group sky blast next to you and forces you to have to take it.
Right.
You're like, well, my dog needs to get something, so.
Right. I'm not doing it on the first day of season.
This is why we shoot nice shells.
Right. Right. I would say mine is when you're going and setting up to people, I'd say like the unwritten rule is don't get within 300 yards if you don't have to of the other person. Yeah. If you feel like if you pointed your gun right at them and pulled the trigger, if your BBs can touch them, you're too close.
Yeah.
Period. So like if you think about a trajectory of a shotgun, if I'm shooting at a duck at about 80 yards, the pellets are going to drop. I have to aim above the duck, right? So then I think to myself, okay, if I'm shooting at a person and I'm shooting at if I'm shooting at a duck and I'm up in the air for like my third shot, are those pellets going to rain down on them? Yes. You're too close. You're too close. You know, you have to think like that. One, you're competing against the same birds. It really sucks for people. We've talked about shooting other people's swing ducks. That's another huge one that happens when you're way too close to each other, but it's just a better experience for everybody. You might not have gotten the spot that you wanted to, but you're also not disrupting someone else's hunt. You know, that's my thing.
One of my biggest too is just because you have a duck call does not mean you have to blow the duck call.
I see. I'm indifferent about that. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a good caller, it makes you stand out from everybody else. But also, if you've got 5 groups calling at the same group of birds, they're not going to anybody, especially late in the year. They're just going to go to the next lake. They're just going to, even if they do come back down, they hear all that racket all the way around them. Even if only one of them sounds good, that's still too much. They're pick right
They
up
bail.
and go on to the next one.
I agree with you on that.
You'll blow them right out of there.
I don't know, but someone just learning, it's like you're fine. Like you blow your duck call, dude.
Practice in your truck.
Blow your
Get
duck
better
call
in your truck.
I don't care. Blow your duck call, dude. If you're doing it and you're 80 yards from me, I'm gonna get pissed.
Yeah, but
If you're 80 yards from me, I'm gonna get pissed. If you're 300 yards from me, I don't care.
But I think he's right onto something. I think if birds come down on the lake, and we'll use the lake that we all know, if there's 3 groups in the location that there's always 3 groups, you and I watched it happen last year. Birds come down, everyone calls, and they just keep on fucking going. They didn't even come down to the water.
Yep.
Right.
Like, I think there is something to be said for too much racket, too much noise. And I'm just
I'm not
this
saying
ain't it.
don't blow your duck call. We're all out there to blow our duck. That's why you bought it. But do you have to do the same exact cadence 5 times in a row at every single flock? That's even like
Stage routines out there are the best. I mean, love it.
the full on hail. Yeah.
Nothing I love more than a goose routine in the goose field.
Right.
Yeah. The field is not the place to practice. You can blow your call. I'm not saying don't bring it, but I'm saying I shouldn't have to listen to it for 3 hours. Every single bird that's within a quarter, half mile.
Also, you should know what you're calling at.
Yeah.
Not just like the kid that's just like, mack, 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 every fucking 5 minutes.
Every blackbird.
When there's not a bird in the air, you're like,
well, the worst
brother,
is
what are you doing?
you see one goose, you start to work a flock, and then the guy who clearly can't see it because it's 900 yards behind him,
Starts
he can't
calling.
see it, and he just starts to la, 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 like just blowing every single note he thinks he knows, just making noise with the thing, and you're like, well, that bird's trying to come right over you. Now it's going to veer way off, and now I got to try and pull it back to me and to you. Just not everybody has to call it the goose. Let the goose do goose things.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one. But
What?
I mean, just in like general, like that whole take, I don't agree with it.
That's fine.
But that's fine. What's your next one?
If you're going to hunt public land with a dog, make sure that dog is able to be controlled and handled. I'm a really big, I hate watching guys not only 1, struggle and lose birds, but 2, just fuck up their own hunt and other people's hunt because their dog's out fucking around or barking or doing whatever.
Yeah.
That bothers me.
Yep. I had a situation one time at a boat ramp where someone's dog was just all over the place. And the second that I let my dog out, that thing just came and attacked Riley. The second the dog got out of the truck, and I'm like, I had to break up a dog fight. His dog bit me. I had to get rabies papers from him. And I'm like, dude, you got to send me the rabies papers. Like, have you been to the vet? And he's like, oh, yeah. No, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude, like it bit my dog. It bit me. You need to send me the papers. So I took a picture of his license. And I'm like, this is so shitty. And now I'm like thinking, like, what if I have rabies?
Happened in Nebraska with us. I had to carry Ginger to the truck.
Yeah.
Because that dog was like all up on the boat edge. And I was like, dude, get your dog.
Right.
And the guy's like, what do you mean? I was like, either you get your dog or I'm going to boot it. Like, I don't care. Get your dog.
Yeah.
I have a firm rule on that, though. Like, if your dog comes at my boat, if it gets kicked, it gets kicked.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for you.
Right.
Control your animal.
Yeah, control your dog. I got to worry about that with Hank because he's so friendly. He'll just go up and say hi to everybody at the boat launch. And if someone's dog comes at me in Mach 10, I'm like, oh shit. And he does that. And so I'm just like, oh, dude, he's just too friendly. And like, if he gets the wrong person, they're going to kick his ass. And
Especially in the dark or something.
Right.
Yeah, black lab in the dark coming at you like a missile.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
You're half asleep.
And someone's going to kick his ass. And what am I going to say?
Right.
No,
Nothing.
No, I got to keep him on a leash. And I got to keep him contained at a public boat launch.
Which I want to like preface that. There's like a stigma to that sometimes by people are like, well, I don't want to like leash my dog at the boat ramp. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Taking your dog on either on a leash or at like a controlled heel from the truck to the boat instead of letting them fuck around. Because the other thing is like, you get to a busy launch, there's 3-4 dudes unload and move, and that's a lot of moving things. Don't let your dog just wander aimlessly and then be like, hey, Lucy, come here. And then you're barking at her. It's like, dude, just control the animal.
Yeah.
Tell the boat's in the water and try to go in the boat.
This isn't a dog park. We're all,
Like we're in the dark. Like, because like, could you imagine if you were back in the boat down and you hit someone's dog? You'd feel so fucking bad.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not your fault,
Right.
but like it happened.
Right. Well, they would be pissed at you.
Oh, yeah.
If nobody's there, let them do their thing. Let them go take care of their business before you get in the boat, all that stuff. But if somebody pulls up, get control of your dog. It's not that hard.
100%.
Okay, let's rapid fire I'm going to do one more, and then we're all going to do one more, okay? Because we're at 10 minutes. But I would say the next one is have safety equipment when you're public hunting. I can't tell you how many times that I have seen someone get into like legitimate trouble, and all they needed was a life jacket, or all they needed was a rope on their boat. You know, where someone parks their boat on shore, wind picks up, and their boat is gone, and they're fucked. I've saved 3 people by getting their boat for them. 3 people. Where it's like, you got to be smart and like understand that if you put your motor into the mud, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. But you also have to like drive that shit into the cattails. Right. Or if there's a tree, have a boat on your rope, or have a rope on your boat and tie it to the tree.
Simple.
Have an anchor on your boat. Have life jackets in your boat. You know?
Yeah, if you're set up like you should, the wind's going to blow your boat away from you.
Have enough gas in your boat.
Yeah.
You know? The one mistake that I made one time was on Cal's boat. We're on the lake that we all know. And his boat was having like weird troubles back then. And I drove it into the cattails. And I left the motor propped up. And what happened is it froze. The motor froze. So if I would have had it in the water, it wouldn't have froze. But since I had it out, and it wouldn't start. So a dude had to help me and like help me get my boat running. And all he had to do was give me a jump, which was great. But like, you should have seen that prop barely spinning, and that thing was running, and the amount of smoke coming out of that boat. It was a bad deal. But like, that's on me. I should know that. But if you're the only one on the lake, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 degrees that day. It was a scary day. So
I'd say for me, we all love being able to hunt public land. So we got to all do our part to respect the fact that we can. We've got some pretty lenient laws here in Minnesota on where you can hunt water. And if we're not careful, we're going to lose that pretty quickly, because there's a lot more people who don't like hunting than do like hunting.
What are you thinking of?
Well, because we can hunt so close to people's houses, sometimes I think people take advantage of that, and it's really easy to piss off a whole neighborhood of people. And before you know it, if we do that enough on enough lakes, we're just going to keep getting pushed further and further away from the metro. We're going to get pushed further and further away from houses that we can hunt. So we're going to lose more access to our public lands.
What are they doing now?
I mean, just simple things like if you're just you don't have to necessarily be as close to certain houses. Like you can hunt an extra 100 yards down and not be obnoxious right at sunup. You know, you don't have to be blowing your call before hunting time even begins. You can do your best to be respectful for as long as possible, and be quiet and be respectful and do your thing over there. And you don't have to necessarily be at the end of their dock. Just because you can doesn't mean you need to be right there. There's plenty of places to hunt, and if we're not careful, we're going to screw it up. We're going to piss off enough people that they're going to start making laws that you got to be 1,000 yards from a house, even if you're on water. Right now, we can. There's no law. You can do it. Doesn't mean you should, because you're gonna make the wrong person mad, and they're gonna have the right power.
Because what is the law?
I don't think there's a footage on water.
As long as you are in public water, there is no footage. You can be because like
if you're on land, it's 500 feet,
right,
with written permission,
right.
But like I have a spot on a lake where literally we used to, we don't do it anymore. But when we were in high school, we would walk a creek through a guy's yard and hunt like to the left of his house. We're 50 feet from his back door. He was cool about it, but like you get the wrong guy. You get the wrong guy, like walking through a creek with your headlamp on through your yard would piss some people off. Because then I've got another spot on the river where like literally the guy will come up and be like, "Hey, please don't shoot at my house."
Right.
I don't really feel like replacing a window, and that's fair. Like I get it.
Yeah.
Mine would be, please have your shit ready. Nothing bothers me more than when you get to the boat launch and guys have no plug out, no key out, no life jackets ready, decoys aren't in the boat. Like, dude, when I am going to hunt water, the dekes are in the boat the night before, the plug's ready, the key's ready, everything's charged, I know my motor runs. Like,
we've all made that mistake.
Done.
We've all made that mistake.
Oh, and yeah, but like for the most part, like at least have some of your shit ready.
Yeah, don't have your boat in the water and hold up everybody else at the ramp.
Well, that, and even if you have to back down, you should not be in the back down position until you are ready.
Right.
Like, don't back down and be like, "Oh, we're halfway in. Let's get everything loaded and get our shit on." No. Like, have that shit done.
Yep.
That'd be my last one.
That's really good. I've noticed this more and more. I I think it's because I got blasted on social media. Like Bobby Guy would talk about it a bunch where he was picking up wads in fields because they have a lot of winter wheat down in Kansas. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You know, but they don't till. And so they just have a bunch of plastic sitting in their fields. And they're harvesting into the combine and shit, or however they pick winter wheat. I have no idea, honestly. But then I'm like, okay, yeah, I should do a much better job of cleaning up like shells and whatever when I'm on public land. And dude, ever since, I think it was like 7 years ago, where I like really made it a point where it's like none of my shit is ever getting left here. Yeah. And I started noticing how much shit is on public land. Oh my God, dude. Mountain Dew cans, beer cans. It's probably from like fishermen mostly, but it's just like wrappers. There's shotgun shells everywhere. Like obviously when you're water hunting, a lot of it drifts out in the lake and or whatever.
They sink.
Mm-hmm. But it's like there's just like an empty box of shells right there. It's like, bro, come on, what are you doing? Or someone's like headlamp is there, or they have like Twinkie wrappers there. Literally cans and cans of Mountain Dew. There was one time I went on the lake that we were talking about earlier. I saw 14 cans of Mountain Dew. That's over a case of Mountain Dew. First of all,
that's a good start, brother.
First of all,
it's Tuesday.
How are you drinking that much Mountain Dew? It's probably between two of you, but still 7? Yeah. 7 each? Unacceptable. But like, I think that's a way that we're going to lose our right to hunt on public because we're making it dirtier than what we found it.
And
so
a floating shotgun shell, everybody knows where that came from.
Yeah, it's not hard.
No.
Right. Imagine that washing up on your shore.
Oh, yeah.
35 shotgun shells on your shoreline. You're going to be like, guys, they're destroying the lake.
I already hate those guys because they woke me up this morning. Now they did this. Now I'm going to snap this picture and send it to the DNR.
Right.
Simple things.
Yep.
Right. No, clean up after yourselves and respect the resource. You know, not only respect the ducks and the geese, don't be playing with it when it's half dead.
Right.
That shit will piss me right off.
Yep.
But it's
it.
Respect the resource too. Like respect the water that you're on, respect the land that you're on. You don't own it. We all own it. We all use it.
And I don't want to lose it because somebody's too lazy to do their job.
Fair.
Yep. Jake will ruck through that shit for 3 hours to get to it.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
Turn your headlamp on sooner. I rucked for too long for this.
Right. So hopefully we did a good job of like being educational and like teaching you guys how to do a better job on public land. Obviously we're being like funny about it too, but yeah, just respect the resource and nature in general.
It's important.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's 10 Minute Tuesday, and have yourselves a good one.